So today in How the Hell Did the Refs Miss This, we have to look at Aliyah Boston getting absolutely cheap shot at by Tina Charles. And look, I know after the game, Tina Charles, her and Aliyah Boston were talking and she was giving Aliyah Boston advice. I'm not out here saying that Tina Charles is the worst person in the world or Tina Charles the devil. What I'm saying is she should have been ejected. At the end of the day, basketball is a sport and you can do things to get you ejected. It doesn't mean you're the devil. It doesn't mean you're some evil person. At the end of the day, it is what it is. But we got to talk about this. We have got to talk about this right here because how the hell the referee saw this play right here. So, Aliyah Boston, and I have to say, Aliyah Boston does use her elbows a lot. Does she commit offensive fouls? Sure. She does. She uses her elbows a bit too much. It's on the referees to call that. But I mean this when I say this. An offensive foul does not warrant a swipe to the face. I'm sorry. That's basically saying you have, you were, sealing and you were kind of grabbing onto me, so I suplexed you. And being like, yeah, you deserved it. No. If what happens to you is minor and you retaliate in a major way, you're in the wrong. You are in the wrong. So, let's take a look at this play. So, Aliyah's getting good positioning. Nothing's happening here. And in fairness, Aliyah Boston does, while she's trying to get positioning, does kind of make contact with her chin. It is what it is. Could the refs have called it an offensive foul? If Tina Charles flops, it probably is an offensive foul. So then they get tangled up. And Tina Charles, they're kind of getting tangled up there. And Tina Charles clocks her in the face. Tina Charles punched her in the face. I don't know if it was closed fist. I don't know if it was just a slap. But let's look at this in slow motion. It looks even worse in real time. She clocked her in the face. It's open fist. It was not closed fist. She clocked her in the face. And by the way, the referees chose not to look at the monitor. Aliyah Boston spends a good 10 seconds lying on the ground after this. And the referees don't look at the monitor. Look, this is in the most favorable outcome is it is a flagrant one. This is a flagrant. I have my tiers of flagrant fouls. I have certain things where I've a flagrant 0.25, like the JC Sheldon hip check out of bounds. The Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, I think was a straight up flagrant one. That's what my definition for a flagrant one is. For Dejanay's kind of eye gouge thing, I call it a flagrant 1.5. As in, it's a flagrant 1. Ref could call a flagrant 2. I think Ari McDonald's, when she took out, I can't remember who it was. I think it was against the Valkyrie. She took someone out in the air and just threw him onto the ground. I think that was a flagrant 1.75. I've called this a flagrant 1.85. As in, it is almost certainly a flagrant 2. But maybe the referees could make the argument that there wasn't the contact wasn't enough, even though there was the big wind up. She did get hit in the face. Maybe they could try to come to some sort of an argument for why this was a flagrant 1, but it's very clearly a flagrant 2, and they called it a common foul. They called a flagrant 1.85 a common foul. In the best way you can look at this, the most favorable outcome for Tina Charles is that it's a flagrant 1, and the rest called it a common foul. She just clocked her in the face. This does not get better the more times you look at it. This does not get better. It gets worse. And they didn't even go to the replay. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing from the league. That is absolutely embarrassing from the WNBA. That is embarrassing from the referees. That is embarrassing from the league. And by the way, if you guys haven't seen, Aliyah Boston, AB elbowing as usual, then being dramatic. She got smacked in the face. She literally had a wind-up smack to the face, and then she's being dramatic for falling on the ground. I'm sorry. These people are they are deranged. They are deranged. They're absolutely, that's the only word Like, they are absolutely deranged. It's proximity to Caitlin Clark derangement syndrome. Like, it is proximity to Caitlin Clark. You know the way, I can't even remember. I think it might have been Adrian Ross who like was talking about Caitlin Clark derangement syndrome. It's now proximity to Caitlin Clark or derangement syndrome. It is if you are near Caitlin Clark, if you are in any way like tied to Caitlin Clark, you're free game according to these people. You're free game. Or they can do whatever the hell they want to. If you chose to go to the Indiana Fever, you deserve every cheap shot you get. Like, that is the logic to these people. They are deranged. They are so deranged by their hatred of, and I don't think it's anything to do with a hatred of Caitlin Clark. I think it's a hatred of who Caitlin Clark is, where she comes from, what she looks like, and the fact that a lot of new fans have come in from her. And let's be real. It is not based on any of Caitlin Clark's actions. It is based on because, by the way, Diana Taurasi, everything they celebrate Taurasi for is what they go at Caitlin Clark for. It is nothing to do with that. It is who Caitlin Clark is, where she's from, what she looks like. And she's not what they wanted in the league. And that's the thing. She comes in, brings in basketball fans, and the club's gone. The club is gone. And it's just annoying. It's annoying to look at this type of stuff happening for the Indiana Fever. Like, they are the worst refereed team in the league. And it's not even close. And by the way, like, to say that a lot of these young players, Paige Bueckers, there is a hierarchy when it comes to the whistle. And it seems to be in a lot of situations, you either have to be a vet, or if you weren't a vet, you had to go to UConn. Because Paige Bueckers has the best whistle. Paige Bueckers, Stewie, Angel Wilson. Like, Aliyah has one of the worst whistles in the league. In fairness, you can hate on Angel Reese all you want. Her whistle is terrible. Her whistle is absolutely terrible. You can hate on Angel Reese all you want. She has a terrible whistle. Caitlin Clark Aliyah has the worst whistle in the league. Caitlin Clark, they literally just let her away with hacking people. They let people away with hacking Caitlin Clark. And by the way, like, I remember watching the play and I'm like, defensive foul, offensive foul on a push off, defensive foul, and then nothing happens. And I'm like, there were 5 fouls in a sequence. It was when Caitlin's last turnover, where she kind of dribbled the ball left and she kind of dribbled it around the circle and dribbled the ball the way around. And then Olivia Nelson-Ododa, in fairness to her, got a perfectly clean steal. Layla LeCon literally fouled Caitlin Clark 4 times, and Caitlin Clark shoved off Layla LeCon in between those. It was 2 fouls for LeCon. Then Caitlin shoved LeCon, which is an offensive foul, and then LeCon fouled her twice again. And I'm like, there are 5 fouls the referees ignored. There are 5 fouls, and I would have been less annoyed if the rest just called the offensive foul, because she clearly offensive fouled LeCon. But no, they decided to ignore the 2 defensive fouls, an offensive foul, 2 defensive fouls. And I'm like, it is literally just, if you play for the Indiana Fever, nothing matters. And by the way, Sophie Cunningham were clocked in the face by an elbow as well, with a referee staring at it in plain sight, and was just like, nah, play on. The referee at the back was saying that as well, or was watching as well, and it's just all around. It's embarrassing. It's an embarrassment, the referees in this league. But anyway, I'll see you guys.